Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching us live today from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. Thank you for joining us. Invite your children, your family members, your friends, and well-wishers to join us in this live lecture. Very, very important live lecture. Today's date is Orie or Oye Market Day in the 12th month of the Igbo lunar calendar called Onwa Ede Ajana. And in the Roman Catholic calendar, today's date is January 26, 2025. And remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call Ako Nuche. Use your Ako Nuche, reason. And also, if the Europeans, when we say the Europeans, we mean United States, Canada, all the European countries, Australia, New Zealand. So if all the European nations, even the Indians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, if they are presenting information to present their people the same way, at Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University, we also package and present lectures so that you see it from how it is affecting you. And therefore, we package lectures and present it to you from Biafran and African perspectives, how you should be seeing things, how you should be reasoning. Because if we cannot reason, then we are an animal. And the title of today's lecture, and I have to warn you in today's lecture, because our people, the way we are reasoning, we are not reasoning out of the box. Today's lecture, some people may not understand it. Some people will say you are questioning this and that, but that's not the case. You have to reason from everything that is going on in this world, and then you will agree with us with this title and the presentation that we have today. The title of our lecture today is that the Almighty God is a symbol of creation. The Almighty God is a symbol of creation. Why humans makes a lot of decisions also that is affecting and changing the creations. And some of the creations of Almighty God are like darkness, when darkness, you have daylight, the sun, the rain, the lightning, the thunder, the wind, the trees, the land, the rock. Everything you see on this earth and things also in the oceans and seas and beneath the land. So everything that you have on this earth is what humans say, wow. And they said, somebody must have created all these things. And that is why, like we presented in our lecture yesterday, many cultures have different names for that Almighty God. Like in Igbo, we call it Chukwokike Abiama. The Yorubas call it Oluwa, and the Muslims call it Allah. Also, the Europeans call it, when we say the Europeans, we mean America, Canada, Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Spain. They call it Lord or God or Jehovah. India call it Brahma, and the Chinese call it Zhenhu. So every culture have a name for this wow, for this mystery of creation. Somebody must have created this. And our question, I think, is, why is it then that man is the one that is recreating and redoing things on this earth? And sometimes horrible things. And the Almighty God just left man alone. For thousands of years, man has been the one that is changing the world through wars and so many decisions that they are making. So Adam is becoming to see that the Almighty God, as we are meant to believe, could be just a symbol of nature, a symbol of everything we have on this earth or in the ecosystem. It just be a symbol. Because according to Britannica chronicled all the wars that have happened in this world by man. And we will mention a lot of them to you to help you to see where we at Nkolomahadum is coming from. To be saying that the name Almighty God is not a human being as we are made to see. It's just a representation of nature, of creations. And so from 1300 to 1200 BCE, before the Christian era. BCE means before Christian era. You know, the Christian era started almost 2,000 and something years ago. But before that time, they have what they call the Trojan War. Also, from 1200 BCE to 1100 BCE, they have another Trojan War. From 800 BC, from 800 to 700 BCE, they have two major wars. From 700 to 600 BCE, they have one war. These are major wars. This does not include all other minor wars being fought by man. Between 500 to 400 BCE, you have two major wars. Britannica mentioned the areas where you have those wars with this, but because of this lecture, because of the time we have for this lecture, we are not able to give you all the details. You can go to Britannica and see all the details. Then from 400 to 300 BCE, you have one major war, the one they call one major war, but there are other minor wars that we are not reported. Between 300 to 200 BC, there was one war. Between 200 to 100 BC, one war. Between 100 BC to CE, you have one war. Between 1300 to 1400 CE, you have two wars. Between 1400 and 1500 CE, now we are now in the Christian era, you have three major wars. In 1500 to 1600, you have 5 wars. But guess what? As we continue to live on this earth, the more wars we have. From 1600 to 1700, we have 11 major wars. Part of these 11 major wars included the 80 Years' War between the Roman Catholic Church and the Anglican Church that led to the independence of Netherlands from Spain in 1568. 80 Years' War between the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church that led to the independence of Netherlands. Netherlands was being ruled by the Anglican Church. while Spain is being ruled by the Roman Catholic Church. They fought for 80 years that led to the independence of Netherlands. Also, from 1618 to 1648, there's another 30 years war. 30 years war between the countries being ruled by the Catholic Church and the countries being ruled by the Anglican Church that finally led to the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. And then between 1700 to 1800, you have 21 wars. These are the ones that are recorded. 21 wars. Some of these wars occurred in Poland, Austria, American Revolution, French Revolution, Cape Frontier War. The Cape Frontier War is interesting. For 100 years, they fought this war for 100 years, between 1779 to 1879. Also, between 1800 to 1900, you have 36 wars, 36 different wars. Some of these wars included in France, the Napoleonic War, the Philippine-American War, the Spanish-American War, the Mexican-American War, and so on and so forth. Between 1800 and 1900, you have 36 wars. And between 1900 to the year 2000, you have 38 wars. 38 wars, including the two world wars, First World War from 1914 to 1918, and the Second World War from 1941 to 44. You have the Algerian War, you have the Arab-Israeli War, and from 2000, we are in 2025. From 2000 to date, you have the Afghanistan War, the Iraqi War, the Libyan War, the current Israeli-Arab conflict, Israel fighting with Hamas, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and the wars going on in Ethiopia, Congo, Sudan, Nigeria, northern Nigeria, even though it's not pronounced, but there's a war going on there. So you see all the wars that man has been fighting. And the Almighty God allowed man to be so destructive. And those who have been winning this war have been the ones that have been controlling everything in this world. They started slavery, doesn't include slavery. Remember slavery? It's also part of the atrocities being perpetrated by man. Killing and drawing of the world map and creating artificial boundaries in many countries. All were done by man. Imposition of values, foreign values on other people. Imposition of governments on other people. And so many other injustices being perpetrated by man, by human beings. So human beings are the ones that are making the decisions that are really changing nature, changing creation, changing what was created by that Almighty God, that is the Almighty God that is being depicted as the overall of all and all. And the question we are asking at Nkolam Hadam is, why is that Almighty God allow man to be so destructive? And those who have been destructive, killing and exploiting others, are the ones that are, if you come to their country, they are the ones that say that they are developed, that they are doing good. So why is that? Why is it like that? That's why at Nkolam Hadam we want you to reason. Because if you cannot reason, then you are an animal. We have to reason. Why is it so? It is very, very, very annoying when we Africans, when many people just believe things without reasoning. And so before we continue, we have to ask you to please join us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and like our lectures, comment, and share, invite your friends. Because we have to reason as human beings in order to show that we are not animals. And so what we want you to take away from today's lecture is that the Almighty God, what they are telling us, that the Almighty God is there, that you have Almighty God and every culture have name for it. It's not really a human being. It's not really doing anything. The Almighty God is a depiction of nature, of creation, everything in nature, like daylight, sunlight, darkness, sun, the rain, the moon, the lightning, thunder, the trees, the land, the rock, everything that is nature, naturally occurring, the ecosystem. That's what many cultures are referring as the Almighty God. But human beings are the ones that are making decisions as to who lives, who gets anything in this world, as you can see from all this world as chronicled by Britannica. From the 1300 to 1200 BC, you have the Trojan War. Between 1200 to 1100 BC, you have another Trojan War. Between 800 to 700 BC, you have two wars. From 700 to 600 BCE, you have two wars. From 500 to 400 BCE, you have another two wars. From 400 to 300 BCE, you have one war. From 300 to 200 BCE, you have another one war. These are the major wars, not including all the small wars that may be going on in those periods. Then you have between 200 to 100, you have one war. Between 100 to BCE to CE, you have another one war. And then as we enter CE, between 1300 to 1400, you have two wars. Between 1000 to 1300 CE, we have four major wars. Between 1400 to 1500, we have three major wars. From 1500 to 1600, we have five wars. Then from 1600 to 1700, we have 11 wars, which included the 80 Years' War between the Roman Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church Spain, and the Anglican Church Netherlands, that led to the independence of Netherlands in 1568. Also, you have the 30 Years' War in that period between the countries being governed by the Catholic Church and the countries being governed by the Protestant Church. If we have an Almighty God, why would that God be there? And these churches which are also serving him, which also believe in him, be fighting with each other, killing each other, and millions of lives were lost in all these wars. And the 30 years old war led to the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. And also in between 1700 to 1800, you have 21 wars in Poland, in Austria, American Revolution, French Revolution, the Cape Frontier Wars that lasted for 100 years. When the Europeans came to South Africa, it took them 100 years to conquer South Africa. 100 years of war, from 1779 to 1879. Also, between 1800 to 1900, you have 36 wars, which included several French revolutions, the Napoleonic Wars, the Mexican-American War, the Philippine-American War, the Spanish-American War. So you can see it's war across the board. And from 1900 to 2000, we have 38 wars, which included the First and Second World War, and the Algerian War, and the Arab-Israeli War. And from 2000 to date, we have Afghanistan War, the Iraqi War, Libyan War, Syrian War, Ukraine War, Israeli War, the one going on in Sudan, Ethiopia, Congo, and Nigeria right now, in the northern Nigeria. So as you can tell, there's a lot of wars going on by man. So man is the one that is shaping the world. Man is the one that deciding who lives. Man is the one that participates in slavery, in drawing of the map, drawing up of artificial boundaries across the world, imposing their values and culture on other people, exploiting other people. And those countries that are doing that are the ones that are regarded as developed, that knows what they are doing. Why would the Almighty God allow such to be? And that is why we at Nkolom Hadum is beginning to feel that the Almighty God is just a depiction, it's just a symbol of nature. The creations, everything we have created in this world is being represented by that word, Almighty God. The humans are the ones that are actually making changes in the world, and the Almighty God left them to be making a lot of horrible decisions, killings, assassinations, impositions of all. So think about it. Think about it. This is why Nkolom Hadum is different, because we think out of the box. We want you to think out of the box and reason. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining us today, and have a very, very good night. But before we go, remember, all Africans must rise up to dismantle all the colonial boundaries in Africa, because those colonial artificial boundaries are the sources of poverty, wars, migration, exploitation, killings, injustices of different types. And if we cannot go to Europe and say, you become one country, why should we continue to allow that in Africa? And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a very, very great day. Thank you very much, and have a good one.